So hey Jason, what's up? How are you?
So what's up, man? How you guys doing?
I'm doing,
Represent AC MMA.
yeah, I'm doing well. So quickly for the viewers, I'll just introduce what this is all about. So
Sure.
today is our first episode of the podcast. So our guest is Jason Ramesh Solomon, aka the Delhi Don, if I'm saying it right.
Got
Yeah,
it, bro. The Delhi Dawn.
yeah,
Represent.
represent. Yeah. So we are going to get a lot of people from the MMA industry, MMA community in our show and on our podcast. Today is obviously the first episode and Jason is on it. We'll probably get fighters, coaches, and people from mixed martial arts associations as well. And we'll
Cool.
have a fun time and have a good chat with them. So let's start right away. Jason, I have to ask you this. What are you doing in this lockdown, man?
So basically, I'm doing what most people are doing. Trying to be creative, trying to stay positive. A lot of home workouts. All the gyms are closed, so you can't really do too much training in the gym. So a lot of home workouts, running, shadow boxing, basic stuff. Plus, I've also been making music, spending time with my family. So a lot of things going on.
Yeah, obviously it's hard to get training partners in this time. I have to ask you about your wrist. How is your wrist now?
Yeah, so basically, if you look, I had injured this finger before. This finger doesn't straighten all the way, and this finger is linked to the wrist here.
Yeah,
So this prior injury basically got reactivated when I threw a punch or when I blocked a punch. I really don't know what happened, but either way, I pulled out. I've lost 2 fights in a row now. It's not something I'm very proud of, but I guess what makes me different from other people is my mindset. I
yeah.
don't look at it as a loss, as a failure. I look at as failures and losses as a lesson, and they motivate me and push me to do better. So hopefully in the next fight, whether it's Super Fight League, Matrix, or even ONE FC now, because my contract is over with Super Fight League, I might get a ONE FC offer. So wherever my next fight is, I definitely want to come away with a win.
Yeah, we hope you do well, man. So you said your contract is over with Super Fight League. So you were having two contracts with MFN and Super Fight League, or MFN wasn't a contract?
So MFN was a one-time fight. I've not signed a contract with MFN yet. It was basically just a contract for one fight. But
Yeah,
now that I'm a free agent and no longer my contract with Super Fight League is now going to be expired, I'm looking to sign with another big company. So either Matrix Fight Night or ONE FC, UFC if possible. I don't know, but that's a little bit far away for now. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the best option is. I'll sign with them.
well, we can hope for UFC as well. I mean, nothing
Yeah,
wrong in
man.
hoping. Yeah.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm gonna get to your fights and everything else, but just before we do that, could you just tell me how your MMA journey started? Because many of the people who are watching this might actually be MMA
hmm
aspirants, and they might you know get good insight from how your journey has started. Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, my journey started a long time ago. I'm one of the oldest active Indian MMA fighters. I started fighting about 8 years ago when Super Fight League first started. I've been fighting, like I said, yeah, 8 years. How did I get started in the journey? I guess, as most kids watching Bruce Lee movies and Kung Fu movies, you always like, wow, I want to do that. I want to try that. So I started doing Taekwondo. I started doing kickboxing, and then MMA came. And I was actually in college in America when I saw MMA for the first time. I was like, wow, this looks fucking crazy. I want to try to do this. And
Yeah,
so I looked for a couple gyms in my city. I was living in Minnesota back then. That's a state in America. And then I came back to India after college. And in India, there was no MMA gyms at all. The only MMA gym was Tiger MMA gym down in Bombay, which Alan Fernandez and Daniel Isaac were running. So
yeah,
I took a plane trip to Bombay. I
yeah,
did a trial. We did some training with those guys. They liked me. They gave me the opportunity to come and train with them at their fighter camp. So my parents and everyone in my family were completely against it. They told me not to go. Whatever money I had saved, I took whatever I had and I just got on a plane and went to Nasik and didn't care what my family or friends thought. Just had a dream to do it. And thank God for me, Daniel Isaac and Alan Fernandez, they gave me the chance.
yeah.
So I went down there, I trained with them, and then they gave me a fight in Super Fight League. I won my first fight, knockout in the first round. Pretty good response. A lot of people liked it.
So your MMA record right now is 8 wins and 3 losses, and you have got two back-to-back losses.
Yep.
So do you want to redeem those losses? What is your plan?
Absolutely. I mean, my fight against Shrikant Shaker, where I lost the first fight, I mean, no excuses. I mean, I never like to make excuses, but I was injured prior to that fight. I didn't have a proper training camp. I was actually in the middle of Europe. I just had went to go see my daughter get born. So there were a lot of personal things going on that really didn't allow me to prepare for that fight properly. But that's not an excuse. I would absolutely love to fight Shrikant Sekar again. I don't think he is as good as people think he is. Just because he beat me and Rajendra Singh Mira, who are two big names in the game, doesn't necessarily mean he's like one of the best fighters out there. I think there's a lot of hype behind him, and sooner or later I will fight him again. And when I do, I'm gonna kick his ass.
Where do you think you can possibly beat him? Stand up or grappling?
Anywhere, man. Like, I mean, if you watch the fight, he tried to stand with me. He couldn't stand with me. He went in for a shitty takedown. I stuffed his takedown. I reversed his takedown. I took his back. And when I had his back, I was setting up the rear naked choke. And, just from being out of practice, I made a small, stupid mistake. And he capitalized on that mistake. And it cost me the fight. But like I said, with my mindset, the way I think, I look at every failure as a lesson and I learn and grow from it. And so the next time we fight, I won't make that mistake. I think I'm a better striker than him, obviously with my reach and my length. I'm a much better striker than him. I already know that. Grappling, I mean, I feel I'm a better grappler. He might think he's better. Other people might think he's better because he beat me by a submission. So, but like I said, I'm an all-rounder. I've had finishes with knockouts. I've got finishes with TKOs. I've got finishes with submissions. So I'm an all-rounder, and I believe that I'm better than Shrikant in every aspect. My next loss was to Pavan Man Singh. I mean, technically, I had to pull out due to an injury. Everyone told me I was winning that fight. I was up by the points. I've already beaten Pavan Man before, and so I'd like to run that back. I'm a fighter. I don't run away from nobody. I don't care about my record. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, if you didn't train, why did you take the fight? Oh, you're going to ruin your record or ruin your ranking." I really don't care about that type of stuff. If someone gives me a fight, they challenge me. I'm a man. I go in there, and if I lose, I lose, and that's it. That's how it goes. You got to fight.
Yeah, so you would like to get both the fights right back if you can. So
Yeah,
one
oh,
of the
I
main,
will. I will get both fights. I will get them back. I just need to prove myself to Matrix, and
yeah.
whatever fighters they give me, I need to just beat them. And after I beat them, I'll call out Shrikant and Pavan Man again, no problem.
So you just mentioned again about the wrist thing. Your fight versus Pawan was a very grappling heavy match. So do you think you injured yourself in grappling exchange or was it in a striking exchange? Do you
No,
remember?
no, no, no. So basically, it was when I was striking him. He came in with an overhand hook, and I tried to punch him straight or try to block a punch. It must have been during a striking exchange. I don't think it was during the grappling exchange at all.
Oh, okay.
And I was actually quite surprised that Pavan was grappling with me so much. I was using a technique called a long guard, where you put your hand out in front of you,
Yeah,
and he couldn't really get his way around the long guard,
yeah.
so he had to rush me and try to take me down. I was surprised that he did that. I was expecting him more to do striking than grappling. So, but it shows me that the MMA community in India is definitely evolving and getting better. People that were starting off as boxers are now becoming more all rounders. And that's a really, really good thing. I like to see the level of Indian MMA rising, and that's going to push me to be a better fighter. So I like it. I think it's a good thing. I congratulate Pavan Man. I have a lot of respect for him. And yeah, I would love to fight him again. And yeah, Shrikant Shaker, definitely I want to fight him for sure. Like, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we would love to see both the fights again because we would love to see all the exchanges, the stand up, the grappling, everything. Who are you training with currently? Are you training with your old training partners or have you changed your camps?
So basically, like I said, I'm basically trying to relocate to America. I feel that for me, I'm not able to evolve or grow as an MMA fighter here. In India, I'm the coach, and I coach at a place called Knockout Fight Club. I'm the captain of their fight team.
Yeah,
So I'm one of the older, more senior fighters in the city and also in the country. So for me to grow and for me to become a better fighter, I need to go to a place or to a camp that has better coaches, and better fighters. And so I'm in the process of relocating back to the States. I had found a team there. I was training at a place called Hammerhead MMA, getting ready for the Pavan Man fight. But due to the lockdown, due to COVID-19 or Corona, I'm locked down in India. I was supposed to fly back to the States, but since the lockdown, I'm unable to do that.
Oh yeah. Okay. So any other fight camps have you thought about going into the States? Have you ever thought about any other fight camps, or this is the one that you're talking about? You're going to go there.
Well, I used to train at Tiger Muay Thai in Phuket, Thailand. I train at Tiger, and then I also trained at AKA Thailand in Phuket. So those are my two camps that I had for Super Fight League. And then, like I said, for the Pavan Mansingh, the camp I had was at a place called Hammerhead Gym in Seattle. So that's a good gym. I would love to fight. If I can get to Greg Jackson's academy down in Arizona, I would love to train there. They have a really good camp for fighters, especially if you're an international fighter. They give you a place to stay, they give you food, and they give you training all for one lump sum price. So it's a pretty good deal. I'm trying to find my way into there. I'm in talks with them. They gave me an invitation. I just need to now find the time and the money. As you know, it's very difficult to get the money, especially if you're not winning, if you're
Yeah,
losing. So I've lost 2 fights now. So getting sponsors is a little difficult. But if I can get the sponsors, if I can get the money, I'd love to train at Greg Jackson.
fantastic. Seems like they take care of their athletes, right? We just
Yeah.
get to your fights and the strategies that you have. So you're the kind of person who likes to get into people's head right before fighting. Uh, do you think that plays a major role while actually you get in the cage and fight? Do you think that you're messing up with people's head and they get so much hyped up about the fight, or they get so much hyped up about beating you, or they have the anger in their mind? And do you think that helps you in a way?
Absolutely, man. Every single fight of mine, I like to get into my opponent's head. The only person head I really didn't get into that I wanted to get into was in Shrikant. Shrikant's a different kind of fighter. He's probably like the new age fighter of India. He's one of the few guys that can speak well. He's actually educated. So his mind game is also quite strong. He
Yeah,
was one of the few people that I was not able to break. But most other fighters, yeah, I like to talk shit. I like to get into people's head. I also like to get the fans angry. I like the fans to get involved because that's what actually makes the fight when the fans want to see it. And so if so the two things I'd always like to do is people either need to love me or they need to hate me.
yeah,
They're going to want to watch my fight because they want to see me win, or they want to watch my fight even more because they want to see me lose. So for me, I understand the mental aspect, the business aspect of the game is very important. And that's what separates an elite top level fighter from basically, a beginner or mid-level fighter. Um, that's
yeah,
my opinion.
definitely.
If you look at
Those,
Khabib now,
yeah,
Khabib, even though he's winning so many fights,
yeah,
he's unbeaten so many different fights. He never really got that popularity or that fame or that money
yeah.
until he started talking shit and started, doing the stuff he did. Like after the Conor fight, he jumped out of the
Jump in
cage,
the cage, yeah,
act. That's basically what brought up Khabib's sort of level or reputation to the most of the fans. Of course, the hardcore fans, real MMA fans,
yeah.
they don't care too much about the shit talking. But that's a very small circle. You need to understand, as a business, you want more people to watch your fights. The more people to watch your fights, the more valuable you are to the company, the more money you make, the more money the company makes. So it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Right, and we have seen Conor McGregor making a name out of it for him and making lots and
Right.
lots of money out of it. So
Exactly.
you spoke about people either will hate you or love you. I mean, I as an MMA fan definitely know that those who follow MMA in India and those who know you, they either love you or they either hate you. There is no one that ignores you, right?
Right.
So
Exactly. And that's what I want to let people know is you need to have that kind of personality where
yeah,
people remember you. Otherwise, you're just another random fighter that came and fought, and that's it.
you need to make the noise. I mean, if the sport is not that popular in a particular country, you have to get people excited about the sport, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and so
Exactly.
on this point, when you get your losses, there are many people online, and there are many people who might be talking back to you, right? Does that affect
Right.
you anywhere, or you're just all good?
Man, I get every day, every single day. I'm not joking you. Every day for the past like maybe 5, 6 years, random people commenting on my post or sending me a private message, telling me how much I suck, telling me I'm a joker, telling me I'm a loser, telling me they can kick my ass. And for me, I know a lot of people can let that mentally fuck with their head, but for me, it just motivates me. When people talk shit to me, I laugh, I smile, and it motivates me because I know that, there's always going to be a hater. And if you're doing something good, people are going to even hate you more. So, and I firmly believe the more haters you have, the better you're doing in life. So I have to say thank you to my haters. I love you. Thank you for your motivation, and fuck you.
Yeah, that's true, man. And I can't believe people who have not even trained in mixed martial arts, just because you talk shit, they're calling you out. I mean, that's something hilarious, right?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I mean, I get guys who are not even professional fighters, who have no pro record at all, who have just won a few amateur tournaments or maybe done the nationals, won a few medals in the nationals, and are talking shit to me. And I'm like, dude, like, get one pro fight first, then come talk to me. It's a completely different level. The pressure is different. I
Yeah,
mean, I can tell you stories of like me training at gyms where in the gym, the people I train with, they're much better than me. They're kicking my ass in the sparring. But then if you see them go fight, they don't perform that well in the actual fight because of all the pressure from the cameras, from the crowd, from the audience. So to be able to fight under pressure is much harder than just in the gym training, you know?
yeah, yeah. So you also said that there was some personal stuff going on when you were preparing for your last couple of fights. So how was your preparation exactly? I mean, how many sessions were you able to put in a day? Uh,
So for the Shrikant Shaker fight, I'll be honest, I was in the middle of like the forest in Europe, in
uh,
East Europe. I went to go see my daughter. I just have a brand new daughter. She's a year old now,
oh,
and I was in the middle of a forest and no training partner with a brand new daughter. So for me, I didn't really have a proper training camp at all for that fight. Like once again, I'm not using this as an excuse. You're
no,
asking me the question, so I'm
yeah,
telling you, right?
yeah, yeah.
So for the Shrikant Staker fight, I literally had no training whatsoever. It was just a little bit of jogging, a little bit of shadow, but no grappling partner, no training partner. And that's why I made the mistake of where I put my hand when I took his back. For the Pavanman fight, I did have a good training camp. I was training regularly, like twice a day for a good, 3 to 4 weeks before the fight, and then once a day about a month before the fight. So I like to kind of one a day is for sure. That's when you're consistently training. But as you get closer to your fight, you want to take the intensity up,
Yeah.
and then a few weeks or a week before your fight, you want to stop your training, and that's you need to do your weight cutting if you're cutting weight, or just let your body heal and recover from the hard 1 month, 2 months of training. So that's basically how I do my training. Normally, do one a day, one good training session a day every day, and then when I get closer to my fights, bump it up to two a day.
So usually, when do you peak yourself up at? I mean, do you need 5 weeks, 6 weeks? What is the time frame for training that you
I
need?
think three. I think 3 or 4. If you train regularly, every day for 1 hour of whatever training. It could be weight training. It could be grappling. It could be sparring. It could be drills. Whatever you do for that day. If you're doing a one solid workout a day, then as you get closer to your fight or when you have a fight scheduled, you
Yeah,
want to move it up to two training sessions a day. And a good fight camp, if you're in shape, would be like 4 to 5 weeks. If you're out of shape, maybe 8 to 12 weeks. But normally, as a pro fighter, you want to stay in shape, because
yeah,
I can get a call today, and Alan and Daniel can say, "Hey, Jason, we got a fight for you here in Dubai or in Thailand. Come fight." So, as a professional fighter, you want to stay in shape as much as possible.
yeah. That's true. And also, I would like to ask you about the training camps that you did for your last 4 or 5 pro fights, were it with the same people, or you have just been changing the training camp? Srikanth, you said you were not training at all, but excluding that
So
fight.
basically, if you look at my fight history, Super Fight League, all the Super Fight League fights that I had in the last season where I won 4 fights in a row,
Yes.
for those 4 fights, I was training at Tiger Muay Thai
Yeah.
in Phuket, Thailand. It's a
Yeah.
very world famous gym. I think
Yes.
everybody knows Tiger Muay Thai.
Yeah.
So when I was training at Tiger Muay Thai, I had the 4 fight win streak. I won 4 fights in a row. After that, really didn't have a proper training camp for the Srikanth fight. Then after the Srikanth fight, I had a proper training camp in a place called, excuse me, it's called Hammerhead MMA
Yeah.
in the
Right.
city of Olympia in the state of Washington. This is in America.
Yeah.
And so I was training with them. They're a new camp. I was only with them for like 2 months. But now when I go back to America, I'm going to look for a new team. I definitely need to get back in the win column. I know that I have to win now because 2 fights in a row are losses, and I care a lot about my reputation. I've done a lot in the game for the sport. I don't want to I don't want to retire as a loser. I want to retire as a winner. So I need to change my camp. I'm going to look for a good camp. I'm not sure exactly where, but like I said, I'd like to go to Greg Jackson. If I can get Greg Jackson and Jackson Wink, if I can do that, great. If not, I'm going to have to find another gym. But yeah, I'm still looking. Like I said, I'm in transition. I'm in the transition phase where I'm moving out of India to America. So in this transition phase, I need to find a good gym, and I'm sure I'll find one soon.
Yeah.
And when I do, I think I'll be unstoppable again. It's very important to have a good team. If you don't have a good team and a good camp, you will never be a good fighter. So and I see if you look at Srikanth, a lot of other fighters coming up, like not just Srikanth, but if you look at Dhruv Chaudhary or Angad Bish, just to name a few, these guys have a proper gym team set up. Angus Bish has his own gym. He has his own people. Dhruv Chaudhary is training in Matrix Fight Night Gym in Bombay. So, Srikanth's got his team down in Bangalore. So everybody's got a good team. You need that. And I'm in the process of finding one. And once I do, I think I'll be unstoppable.
Yeah, right. I mean, you spoke about retiring on a winning note and not on a losing note. So you or anyone else or in any sport, you don't get young. You're always going to get old in any sport. And especially in
Right.
martial arts, you're going to get old quick because the damage you take and all the aspects, right? So
Right.
how many years of fights do you have in you?
Well, I got very motivated, man. I don't think this UFC, but the last UFC, there were like 2 fighters on the card. I can't remember their names. They were like 40 plus. One guy was like 41 and the other guy was like 40. I'm 36 now.
Yeah,
So if I can fight for 4 more years,
yeah,
I'll be very happy,
right.
And I mean, with Matrix Fight Night coming, they're already here and they plan to do more regular fights. I
Yeah.
think if I fight for 4 more years, I can do a pretty good show. And if they do offer a belt, I'd like to retire as a championship. So if they do a belt, I'd like to win the lightweight and the welterweight belt before I retire.
Also, you're going to cut your weight. You're going to cut your weight. You're going to go to lightweight
So
as well.
my walk around weight is like 75, 76 kilos. So I
Yeah,
can fight welterweight very easy. I
yeah,
can also drop down to lightweight quite easily. So I fight in the lightweight and the welterweight. So for me, if I can retire as a 2-time champion, once as a lightweight and once as a welterweight, I'll retire happy. I'll be satisfied with my career.
yeah, for sure. Why do you think MFN is not doing belts and whereas SFL and all did belts, right? MFN hasn't done belts yet.
I think the reason why Matrix is not done a belt yet is because they're still too young. They are only into their 4th or 5th event.
Yeah,
So before you start to give out belts, you need to have a proper ranking system. And
right.
to do that, it takes, a good number of fights.
Yeah,
So I think by the end of this year, well, maybe not the end of this year because of this stupid lockdown, but maybe by the middle of next year or the end of next year, not this year,
yeah,
Matrix Fight Night will have enough events and have enough fights where they can have a proper ranking system and they can start, doing the belt, like a title fights. That'd be nice.
yeah. Makes sense. Like you need to have many weight classes, and you also need to have fighters who are ready to fight in light heavyweight and heavyweight and who are natural, right? I mean, we
Right.
very rarely see here in India that there are no more heavyweights here. Like very less. I
Mm.
mean, I don't think I
It's our
remember.
genetics, bro. Our genetics. We're normally Indians are smaller. We don't have too many bigger people,
Yeah,
and also the type of training it needs for MMA. You need to be very fit, and unfortunately, most of the people in India who are very big,
yeah,
that body type or their training is good for like weightlifting. It's
yeah,
not really good for MMA. So I think genetics is the main reason. But if we can find one or two big heavy guys, it'd be amazing, be good. But I mean, like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter heavyweights or light heavyweight, middleweight, as long as you've got an active group of guys in a good weight category with a variety of weight categories. That's
yeah,
the most important thing.
yeah. Right. And you said like you have got good 4 years of fight in you. After you are done fighting, are you looking forward to be an analyst or something? Because I have personally heard you commentating, and I feel you are a damn good analyst. I mean, I've heard others as
Thanks, man.
well, but I've
Right.
heard you, and I think you're a damn good analyst. Is that the plan?
I actually would like to open up my own MMA gym, not just one, but I'd like to open up like a chain of gyms.
Right.
I'm in the process of talking with a very big name in the MMA industry. His name is Manan Datta. He owns Knockout Fight Club. It's one of the largest MMA fight clubs in India. They've got about 4 or 5 centers in Delhi. So I'm in the process of talking with him and striking some sort of partnership with him. And hopefully by the time I retire, we have gyms all across the country, and we help the sport of MMA grow, because not only I get messages also from students from all around the country, from small cities that don't have access to proper MMA training because there's no coach there or no gym there. So I'm very passionate about MMA, not just as a fighter, but also as the sport. I'd love to grow the sport in India. So if we can bring gyms to these small cities in the country and help these guys develop their skill, you never know. Maybe one day we'll have a UFC MMA champion, which would be the dream.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can hope for it. And I've also seen that now you are saying you are very passionate about the sport, and I know there are many fighters who are passionate about the sport. But I've not seen many people transition in India from say wrestling to MMA or say boxing to MMA. I've not seen that transition a lot. I mean, as compared to what we see in the States, there are many Olympic
Mhm.
wrestlers that coming up and are martial artists now. Is money or is the pay a reason for that? What do you think?
Right. So that's the main reason right now. So right now, Olympic athletes like wrestlers and boxers, they get, I think, much better training and facilities, and there's a whole system behind them.
Right.
Right now, MMA guys like me, we have to find our own team. We have to find the financing to fund our training. Whereas if you're a boxer for India, the Indian government gives you a place to stay, they give you food, and they give you training. So everything is taken care of.
Right.
Whereas MMA fighters, we don't have that. We used to have that. There was a camp organized by Daniel Isaac and Alan Fernandez back when Super Fight League first started, and that was amazing. But there's no such thing like that right now. So until we get that financial backing
Yeah.
from either the government or from private companies, then and only then we're going to see like the rise of Indian MMA and the transition of like Olympic wrestlers or Olympic boxers moving to MMA. You
Right.
know, there's a very famous MMA fighter called Mukesh Gora. He's
Yes.
actually a national wushu champion, represents
Right.
India in wushu, and the Wushu Federation, they actually complained to him, and they don't allow him to fight that much in MMA. And he somehow can find a way to manage to fight, but every time he does, they complain about it. And so that's why he's not been as active in MMA as he has been in Wushu. And of course, the amount of money he makes from the Wushu tournaments and the kind of backing he gets is much more than what you would make as a MMA fighter, unfortunately, right now. But with leagues like Matrix Fight Night, the purse is slowly going up and up as the popularity is growing. We have more private companies who are coming and investing. People like Tiger Shroff, Aisha Shroff, Krishna Shroff, they're doing a great job with their contacts in Bollywood and the film industry to help bring in more business, bring in more sponsors. They just did an event in Dubai, which is amazing. So,
Yes.
things are definitely improving and things are definitely getting better in all aspects of Indian MMA, not just the fighting, but the production and the promotion as well.
We need people like Tiger Shroff and all to promote the sport, because people in India largely don't have an understanding of sport. I mean, some people might even think that this is WWE that's going on. I mean, they think that, oh,
Yeah.
they're wrestling in USA and we have seen WWE on TV. They think this is the same thing.
Right,
They need to have the understanding
right,
of the sport. And I feel
right,
like
right.
nobody can be a fight fan. I mean, no one by nature cannot be a fight fan, right?
I mean, I think everybody subconsciously is a fight fan
Right.
because if you think about it, right, if you're walking down the street and
Yeah.
a fight starts to happen, everybody stops and goes to see, oh, ye kya ho raha, right? Everybody does. So everybody is a fight fan. Everybody loves a fight.
Yeah.
And I've never seen somebody like not want to watch a fight. you
Yeah.
know, And
Yeah.
there's two types of people. People that are going to watch the fight. I mean, for example, if I see a fight on the road, I'm not going to just watch it. I'm going to go into the middle and stop to try to break the fight
Stop.
up because I know that fighting on the street is dangerous, it's stupid, you shouldn't do it, right?
Right.
But the majority of people don't have the courage or the skill or the technique to go in to stop a fight. They're all going to watch like, oh my God, ye kya ho raha, wo kya ho raha, ye ho raha, right? So everybody subconsciously loves fighting, whether
Yeah.
they choose to admit it or not. They love fighting.
Yeah, everybody does. I mean, that's for sure. Is MFN SFL a good platform to get noticed by UFC? Do you think that? I mean, people from MFN and SFL can crack UFC if they want to?
I think that's a long shot, man, because the level that UFC is at is a completely another level of fighting, of training, of promotion.
Right.
Indian MMA fighters, we have a long way to go. And not just Indian MMA fighters, but Indian MMA promotions and production has a long way to go
Right.
before we're really recognized on the global level. If you look at all the comments on a lot of the fights in the Super Fight League and Matrix Fight Night, a lot of people, international people, are making fun of it. Like, oh my God, this looks like such stupid fighting. These guys don't look like pros. These guys look like amateurs. So
Right.
once again, there's always going to be haters. There's always going to be somebody that talks shit. All we got to do as the Indian MMA community in India is just focus on the future, not the past. Just focus on what we can do now to make Indian MMA better. And with your help, what you're doing with this podcast, which shows like, the MMA India show or the MMA Syndicate, or, there's so many different podcasts and channels and social media platforms coming up right now that are promoting the sport. I think it's only a matter of time before we are recognized
Yeah.
on the UFC level. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we have a while to go. But like I said, the dream is to have a center all over the country, to have a proper training system in place, so that we give our Indian fighters a chance to represent India on the highest level in MMA, which of
Yeah.
course everyone knows is the UFC.
Right.
So to have a UFC MMA champion would be, to have an Indian UFC champion would be amazing,
Yeah.
and I can't wait to see that happen.
Yeah, man, even I can't wait to see that happen. I mean, I'm a big fan of the sport, and people like I feel people should have more understanding about the sport. Like I would love somebody watch grapple, right? Because I'm just a huge fan of it. So I won't find
Hmm.
somebody grappling a boring thing. I mean, people
Right.
even in UFC fights, if somebody is grappling, I mean, people start booing you, and the crowd pressure starts getting onto the fighters, right? I mean, if people
Mm.
understand more about the sport, they'll even enjoy the grappling aspect of it. I mean, there are obviously exceptions, like there was Derek Lewis fight with Francis Ngannou, wherein nobody was ready to throw a punch. I mean, there are going to be exceptions at the UFC level as well. So obviously, we are
Right.
upcoming, so we might have a fight here or two here or there where people might not enjoy that fight, but definitely all fights on the cards won't be as such, right?
Right. I mean, there's always an exception to a rule. There are some really, really shitty fights,
Yeah,
like Yoel versus Israel,
yeah,
where that was a fucking horrible fight. I mean, everyone was expecting that to be an amazing fight, but for like 5 rounds, they didn't do anything. Like there was like one punch from Roel, and then just a bunch of leg kicks from Israel. So like, yeah, there's shitty fights too, but Nothing in life is always perfect. There's going to be some bad fights every now and then. But yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know. Anything can happen in a fight. So you always got to be careful.
Right. Now that you have brought up Yoel versus Izzy, what do you think your Izzy versus Paulo Costa? How do you think that will go? I think Paulo Costa is going to charge forward. That's not going to be the same fight that was against Yoel, right? They are all.
Like I said, it's a fight. Anything can happen. You never know the mindset of the fighter, what they're going into the fight. You don't know the backstory. Maybe something personal is going on you don't know about. So also in the timing, in the moment, the pressure from the crowd, the pressure from the lights. Maybe you had something bad to eat that day, or maybe your weight cut didn't go so well. So
Right.
there's so many X factors outside of the cage that can affect what's going on in the cage. You never really know. So that's the beauty. That's the beauty of MMA, is that you never know. Anything can happen. And I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, it's not a boring fight.
Yep.
Hopefully, there's more action in that fight. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good fight. I'm definitely going to have. I think Israel's going to win. I love his fighting style. I
Yeah.
love his personality, the way he talks. Once again, why he's a good fighter, but not only is he a good fighter, he also talks shit. He's got the attitude. He has that cool, funky dance intro.
Right.
He does that stupid Aju kid shit. So he's got his own sort of swag, his own sort of style. And I like that. I always want to look at a fighter like that, because he's not just a fighter, but he's also a showman. And at the end of the day, the fight business, it's a show business also. You
Right.
have to put on a good show, put on a good fight. So I'm definitely rooting for Izzy on that one.
Yeah, I mean, your name comes to the mind when you say show business. I mean, definitely every Indian fan knows that. Uh, and also, you said there are many X factors going into the fight. I think because of those reasons, we see UFC Embedded. We have seen your plugged in episodes wherein you try and give much more insights to the people from what is happening behind the scenes and how the weight cut is going, and so that people get more understanding of what a fighter is going through. I mean, it's
Hmm.
very easy to criticize if somebody has not performed up to the mark on the night itself. But there could be a number of reasons going into that fight, and somebody might be injured, somebody might be fighting somebody. I mean,
There's so many things. I
so
mean, you can look at John Jones. Let's take John Jones. He's a very famous name in the game. Probably one of the best fighters. A lot of people argue that he's an asshole because of what he did outside the cage, but
yeah,
that's sort of totally different. But if you look at his mindset, like if you look
right,
at one of his interviews or one of his documentaries, he
right,
says that he goes out 1 week before the fight and he gets completely drunk
yeah,
and he gets completely wasted. So I mean, like that's a lot of people might think that's fucking stupid,
yeah,
but then someone else might think that that's fucking amazing.
yeah,
So there's always going to be people who are going to find one reason or some reason to complain about you. You can never make everybody happy.
right,
And if you try to make everybody happy, then you just make yourself unhappy,
right,
right? So the best advice I can give to up and coming amateur fighters or up and coming pro fighters,
right,
or even if they're not a fighter, just a person in general, a good life advice I can give you is don't listen to other people.
right,
Don't let them tell you you cannot do something or you can do something.
right,
Believe in yourself. Do what feels right for you. And if it feels right for you, and if you believe in yourself and it's something you want to go fucking do it, man. Just do it. And even if you lose, even if you lose and you look like a joker to the whole fool, it doesn't matter. It's like Rocky says, it's a very famous line from Rocky. It doesn't matter how hard you can hit. It matters how hard you can get hit,
yeah,
get up, and keep on going. And that's my philosophy.
yeah,
Every time I lose a fight, every time I do something wrong in life, or every time I make some kind of failure or some kind of mistake, I don't cry. I don't get depressed. I don't go, I don't retire from fighting. I do take that as a lesson,
right.
that this is something I can learn from. How can I learn from this? How can I get better from this so that in the future I can perform better? So that's the advice I like to give to people, and that's the message I like to spread.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing to do after a loss is to get back up and get a win right away, right? The mindset counts far more than anything else, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Did you watch today's
Mental
fight,
toughness.
UFC? Gilbert
Yeah,
Burns
I
or
watched it. I was up at 6:30 in the morning. I was up in the
oh
early. I wanted Woodley to win because he's 38. He's the old guy,
yeah,
but he got his ass kicked, man. I was surprised that he fought so badly. Like he didn't really do anything. He was completely just. I think he was shocked after that first attack. He got
yeah,
that big cut on his. He
right.
got the big cut on his eye. But that was the Brazilian guy. What's his name? The new guy from Brazil?
Gilbert Burns. Yeah.
Okay, Burns. That's his name, Burns. So yeah, I mean, wow, he's like the new generation. Even if you listen at the commentary, how they were talking, like
Yes.
there's a whole new generation of fighters. Even for Indian MMA, I'm considered the old guy. I'm the old guy, and Anshul Jubli, Shrikant Shaker, these guys are all like the newer generation of fighters, and
Yeah.
they're much better than the old generation.
Yeah.
So, and it's forcing guys like me to get better, and
Yeah.
that's part of the game. That's part of the game. You always want to get better. You always want to improve. So on one side, I'm happy that these guys are getting better, but on the other side, it sucks that I'm losing. So I need to now push myself to get better.
Right. Do you think that some fighters might be underestimating you, that they might be thinking that you are just all talk because they see only that, but like they might enter the cage thinking that, oh, this is all talk and I have to go and just knock this guy out? Or do you think this is the mindset of many fighters going against you?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's the mindset of everybody. Everybody thinks they can beat me easily. Everyone thinks I'm full of shit. Everyone thinks that I'm not a good fighter. But if you look at my pro record, I've got 8 wins and 3 losses. That's a better pro record than any of the guys we're talking about right
Right.
now. You
Right.
know, and so that's one of my strengths, I guess, is that people in their mind they think I'm not good, and they think that I just like to talk shit and flirt with the girls and have fun. But when I get in the cage, it's a whole different story. I'm a different person.
Right.
I have that that winner instinct, the survival instinct, kicks in, and it's either I'm gonna win or I'm gonna die trying to win. So
Right.
none of my fights have been to a decision. I either finished
Right.
everybody or they finished me, and that's how I like to fight. I want to fight to the finish. I don't want to be safe, stay on the outside, score points, let the judges. No, I want to fucking go in and kick your ass. And if
Right.
I don't kick your ass and you beat me, okay, great, no problem. You kicked my ass. Go back, train, get better, try to get the rematch, trying to beat them.
Right. That's the mindset. So I'll also have to ask about the testing policies here. I mean, we see with USADA in UFC that many fighters are getting caught. What is the testing policy here in MFN? Like, which bodies are going into it? What is actually?
So right now in India, MMA is still very new. Same thing
Yeah.
as in America. When
Yeah.
UFC first started, there wasn't too much of this USADA testing.
No, it wasn't.
So right now, there's no actual dope testing in Indian MMA
No.
for Super Fight League or Matrix Fight Night. I've not seen any dope testing at all. Excuse me. But I would like to see dope testing in Indian MMA because I mean it's quite obvious if you know anything about the human body, if you know anything
Yeah.
about steroids,
Yeah.
you can just simply tell by looking at somebody whether they're on steroids or not.
Or not.
It's quite easy if you know something about it. Um, but it's still new. It's very expensive to do the dope testing. It's not cheap
Right.
to do, and so in India, money is a major issue when it comes to MMA.
Right.
Actually, money is a major issue when it comes to any sports,
And
unless it's cricket. India focuses mainly on cricket, and
yeah.
the reason they do that is because Indians very good at cricket, right? So
Yeah.
that's why they put more money in cricket. The problem with India, I feel, is that they don't invest money in other sports where they're not doing so well. And the reason they're not doing so well is because there's no investment of the money. Indian government need to invest into their athletes
Yeah.
and consider that investment, a long-term investment, and build a good foundation for other sports in India to also grow, not just cricket. Because I mean, what we have like some billion people, we have like a very large population, and there's no lack of hard work. I
Yeah.
train when I'm not fighting, I'm a coach at Knockout Fight Club, and I train a lot of amateur fighters. Okay, actually, the team, my amateur fight team and Knockout amateur fight team, we have the most IMA national champions in our fight team, and I coach them.
Right.
Okay. Now, there's no lack of hard work. They all have desire. They all have hard work, but what's missing for them? What's missing for them is a good coach and a good coaching facility. So with Knockout Fight Club, we try to give them what they want, and that's why Knockout Fight Club amateur fight team is the best in the country.
Right.
Okay? Because me and Manan, we've invested time and we've invested money in these kids, and they're growing. You can actually look at the poster behind me. This is one of the first amateur MMA tournaments that we organized. That's separate from IMA. So we're doing the best we can to promote it, and what we need is money and sponsorship. That's what we need.
Yeah, thanks, man, for the telling about that poster. I mean, I was just going to ask you about.
Oh yeah.
Looks a good poster.
Cool.
I mean, it's cool.
Yeah, it looks as a good background, right? I thought I'd put it in the background for you. Look cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
See, this is the part of the showmanship. Even my background is cool. I got on my T-shirt. I've got my Delhi Dawn hat on. So I got my merchandise. So I'm marketing myself, right? So this is, you need to be a businessman and a sportsman.
Right. Yeah. Have you watched Anthony Smith versus Global Teixeira? I mean, it happened just quite a few days back, and it was one-sided ass whooping. Did you watch that?
I think I didn't. I think I missed that one. I think my dad was recently in the hospital, so I spent some time in the hospital. I don't think I saw that one.
So, how is your dad doing now? Is he fine?
Oh man, he's much better. He's out of the hospital. Everything's doing good, thank God.
Oh yeah, great to hear that. I mean, in his fight, many people were of that opinion that Anthony Smith's corner should have thrown in the towel after the round 4 or in the round 4 because he was getting beaten bad. But on the other hand, Anthony Smith told in an interview to Ariel Helwani saying that if they would have thrown in the towel, I would have fired them. I don't want my tournament to throw in towel when I'm in trouble. I want to either go out there and completely fight till I die or just win. I mean, do you agree with that opinion of his, or you think fighters should be protected more?
Wow. Okay, that's a tough question. That's a very tough question. I think it comes down to personal preference. Like, for example, me, my last fight, I was injured and I threw in the towel. I decided it was safer for myself, for my safety, and it was safer for my career because I don't want to have a life-threatening career or a life-threatening injury or a career-ending injury. That's something I don't want. So me, it depends on the situation, man. Like I was injured, I couldn't defend myself. My hand was busted up. I can't block shots. I can't grab anything. So for me, I think throwing in the towel was a good decision for me. I can't speak for, who we're talking about, Smith?
Anthony Smith, light heavyweight.
Yeah, Anthony Smith. Okay, yeah. So I can't speak for Anthony, but I can speak for myself. And it comes down to the personal preference. But if I was a coach and I see my fighters taking a lot of damage and he's not being able to defend himself properly, I would throw the towel in because I care about my fighter. I want them to be able to, walk away from the fight healthy. I want them to be able to walk away from the fight that they can fight again another day. So there's a very famous saying, sometimes you lose the battle to win the war. So sometimes you have to retreat and surrender in order to, regain your strength and come back and win. But like, again, I said, that's a personal preference. If Anthony Smith wants to take a life-threatening injury or a career-ending injury, that's his personal choice. And as a cornerman, if he told me that, if I was in his corner and he told me, hey, Jason, look, don't fucking throw the towel in no matter what happens, I would respect him as his cornerman and I would not throw in the towel,
Right. So currently the UFC have been putting up fights without zero audience, like there's no audience. Would you be comfortable in fighting such a situation, or do you prefer?
I love it. I love it, bro. I love it. I think fucking Dana White is a fucking gangster. I fucking love Dana White. I think he's so fucking smart with the Fight Island. And I don't really think that anyone should shut down their business, should stop the economy, should shut down the country for a virus. I find it quite fucking stupid. Now, a lot of people out there are going to say, what the fuck, Jason, are you stupid? This virus is so dangerous, blah, 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 blah. I've done my research. I've done my studying of the subject. I don't think the coronavirus is that deadly. Most of the people who've got it have survived. Most of the people who are died have died because of other sicknesses they already had. So I think Dana White's amazing. I think the UFC is a great organization to keep the fights going, and I love it. And I would definitely fight on Fight Island with UFC if they gave me the chance. Even if Matrix Fight Night calls me and said, "Hey, look, we're doing a fight. We got permission." I would fight, no problem. I'm not worried about coronavirus. I have an immune system, so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, lockdown or no lockdown, I mean, we all hope that this virus goes away and the pandemic goes, and then everybody is back to the normal life. I also observed one thing, which I'm constantly watching UFC because I'm a huge MMA fan, and I've watched MFN
Mhm.
fights as well, right? So one thing that I've observed is the canvas that you guys fight on. The UFC canvas is seemed much more harder than what MFN had. So was there any difference, like in the MFN canvas that you're fighting on and the one which we see in the UFC?
Yeah, they're completely different materials. The material that they use for the UFC, I believe it's like one solid piece.
Solid
It
piece,
looks
yeah,
like one solid piece, right? But if you look at the Matrix Fight Night one, there's a bunch of other mats or sponging on the bottom of it, and then
yeah,
they put a tarp on top of it. So I believe it's two separate. I'm not really sure, but that's what it felt like. Um, but like I said again, Indian MMA is still evolving. It's
right,
still growing. So
right,
we don't have the best of everything. And
right,
that's because of money. If you want the best, you need to pay. It's
right,
expensive, right?
yeah,
So you got to make do with what you got. The canvas that is a great canvas. I fought on it. I've rolled on it. It was not bad at all. It was good. I never lost my slipping, but it doesn't look as clean as the UFC's one because obviously, you pay. You got to pay more for that because that's more expensive equipment.
yeah. And you said something about slipping. So now I'm going to ask you two things. I have two things on that. When you were fighting Pawan Man, you usually enter the cage like holding the bars of the cage and then just jumping
Right,
into.
right, right.
Did you injure your foot there, or did something happen
Yeah,
to?
I kind of slipped on when I landed. I kind of landed kind of weird. I kind of had a weird landing, and my knee kind of buckled a little bit. I tried to walk it off and shake it off, but it's funny that you noticed that. It did not have too much effect on my fighting.
Yeah,
But if you watch round two of the same fight, Pavan Man also slips in that fight.
that
He
was my
also
second
slips,
question. Yeah, yeah,
and I kind of saw him roll his ankle, and I stopped, and I kind of looked at the referee like, check on him, is he okay? But he was okay, and we continued fighting. So it's okay, man. Like it's I've fought in much worse cages. I fought in much worse surfaces.
right,
So these are small little things that you really don't want to pay attention to.
right,
Nothing's ever going to be perfect in life, and instead of focusing on the negative, it's better to focus on the positive.
right. The reason why I asked that is that going to be in your mind when you go for your next fight, or you're just going to do the same thing again?
It depends on my mood, bro. It depends on my mood. Like like I said, there's so many things going on outside the cage. People have a personal life.
Yeah,
There's so many things happening outside the cage, and it just comes down to your mind, like how I feel at that time. Maybe I might feel that this fight, let's not do any fucking bakchodi bullshit. Let's just go in, walk in, do your job, and leave. Or maybe I feel like I feel fucking amazing today. Let's do some fucking bhangra shit. Let's do some fucking balle balle shit. It just depends on my mood, bro. It
and that
depends on my mood.
particularly would be on your own rap. I mean, we know you rap, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm making a lot of music.
Yeah,
Um, During the lockdown, I started making Hindi music actually, and I'm
right.
going to be releasing. I've already released an English album, and I'll be releasing a Hindi album very soon.
Yeah,
So yeah, I've just been making music, enjoying life, training, spending time with my daughter, spending time with my girlfriend, with my family, with my dogs. I mean, what can you do? We're locked down. We're pretty much fucked, right? There's nothing we can do. We're
right,
stuck until the government opens it up.
right. So there's one more thing that I need to get off. That is, there's a hydration thing called in one championship, but that thing is not there in UFC as of now, right?
Hmm.
What do you think of
Hmm.
that?
I think it's a good rule. When
Yeah,
when I was talking to the ONE FC people, they were explaining to me about the rule how you need to have 70% of water in your body. I think it's a good rule because it is very dangerous. Water is so important for the human body, and some fighters have died in
yeah,
recent events. Fighters have died because they were so dehydrated, and then they got hit in the head, and they didn't have enough water in their body, and that caused them to die. So I think as a fighter safety point of view, I think it's a good rule. It's a
yeah,
good rule to have. But then again, if you look at UFC, they're on a whole nother level.
right,
They've got much more money. So with money comes more toys, more gadgets, more science.
right,
So they probably have like a UV drip or something to help them rehydrate. They probably have doctors watching them properly. So it comes down to money, man. Everything comes down to money, unfortunately. Leagues that have more money will be allowed to do more crazy things. Like, for example, UFC is hosting fight nights right now. ONE
right,
FC isn't. Why?
right,
Because they have money, they've got the contacts, they can do it. ONE FC can't.
right.
Excuse me.
I feel as Indian MMA is evolving, I mean we can get money into the game, and we have a large population, so that if people get attracted towards it, this is going to be a crowd puller. Like why cricket is a bigger sport, because even crowd loves it. And we see every matches in cricket go the stadium is full. I mean if the crowd loves MMA, I mean people are going to go crazy for this sport as well. What do you think?
Well, I mean, yeah, definitely, definitely. I mean, the more Indians that win, so people like winning. No one likes to
Right,
watch their team or their country lose.
right,
So the reason why there's so much money in Indian cricket is because the Indian cricket team does well. They win a lot,
definitely.
on a national and I mean on an international level. They're kicking ass. They're beating some of the best countries out there.
World champions, world champions.
Yeah, they're world champions, man. So once, for example, boxing is getting a lot of recognition now because of Vikas or Ravinder, whatever his name is. He won a few gold medals or in the in the Asiad Games or something, right? And we also have a wrestler who did really well. So
Yeah,
once Indian athletes start winning, start getting the gold medals, start getting the world championships in those respective sports,
yeah,
that's when automatically
yeah,
they'll start to get more money.
right,
Okay, but that's not the correct thinking if you ask me. you
right,
shouldn't you shouldn't make these athletes spend their money from their own pocket to go out there and train
right,
and expect to reach the highest level without some backing.
right,
You don't give them backing only after they're the best. You got to
right,
give them the backing before they're there so that they become the best.
right from the beginning, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
yeah. I mean, just will I just want to know your views. What do you think is next for Justin Gagey? I mean, I know I'm switching topics to UFC in between. I mean, but what do you think is next for Justin Gagey?
um I really have no idea, man. Like honestly, I'm not a very big follower of the sport. I don't really know all the fighters' names. I don't know who they're fighting next. I
Yeah,
focus more on myself.
right.
So I mean, Justin Gage, he just won, right? He just became the world champion. Didn't
He
he
just
just
won
beat? Who did
against
he beat?
Tony. Yeah, against Tony.
Yeah, Ferguson, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So I mean, obviously Khabib, man. It makes sense that Khabib would be the next fight for him.
Yeah,
It makes sense. And
yeah,
once the lockdown is over, and once Khabib can get out of Russia, I'm sure he'll have to defend his championship belt, and I guess Gagey will be the guy he has to fight now.
yeah.
That's the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the thing that makes sense. I mean, previously we thought Tony versus Khabib has to happen. I mean, got cancelled 5 times and whatnot. I mean, we still want to watch it. I don't know. I want to watch it still, but now that Gaethje has like clearly beaten Tony Ferguson in his last fight, Gaethje is the next in line. I mean, Khabib versus Gaethje is also something that people are very interested about. And I mean, even there were talks about Conor versus Gaethje, but I don't think that that might happen. His Gage is very much focused on Khabib right now. Yeah. So
I
you
think
see,
Tony Ferguson fucked himself for that fight.
do you? Why?
He fucked what because he cut weight for the Khabib fight, then he cut weight again for the gate. Like how stupid. I mean, I think it's just fucking stupid. Like, why would you cut weight for a fight you're not even having? that takes so much energy from you, drains you so much. Then you have to cut weight again.
Right.
I don't know. I think he fucked himself with that. I think he should have never cut weight the first time because there was no fight, you
Right.
know? And he's a little bit of a crackpot. I mean, he does some stupid shit, and everyone's crazy to a limit. Even I'm a bit fucking crazy, but I think that was just fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, on the physical side, cutting weight 2 times in that short period of time is like really getting onto your body, right? But I mean, even people, and we all love Tony for Tony being Tony, right? I mean, he had to do that, and he's Tony Ferguson. I mean, no one else is going to do that other than him. I mean, yeah, he could have felt that as well. I'll just get back to your thing when you said it's just 4 years of fighting, just 4 years in the sense 4 to 5 years of fight in you maximum, right?
Let's see how my body feels, bro. I mean, I know for sure 4 years I'm gonna fight for sure, no
Yeah,
matter what happens.
yeah,
And if my body is feeling good, if
yeah,
my body is doing good, I
yeah,
don't have too many injuries, if my brain is still, if I still have the mindset,
yeah,
you need a mindset to fight.
yeah,
I know that as I'm becoming older, my mindset is changing. Everybody's mindset changes as you get older.
sure,
When I was younger, I was more hungry. I definitely can sense that the hunger in me is or was gone away. But
yeah,
now that I've lost 2 fights,
yeah,
that hunger is coming back again. That desire to win, the desire to prove that
yeah,
I am the best. So that's coming back. I lost that feeling a little bit because, I was on a win streak. I was beating everybody. It was, I was happy. I was good. I was comfortable. Everyone knew I was the best, even if they didn't like me. Now, because I've lost 2 fights, a lot of people, even me myself, they don't they don't think I'm the best. And I'm now looking at myself in the mirror like, fuck, bro. Like, Jason, you just lost 2 fights to guys that are not better than you. Like, why the fuck are you losing to guys that are not better than you? You know you're better than these guys. You know you can beat these guys. Why are you not beating these guys? And I had to think a lot about me. Like, what the fuck? What am I doing differently? What's different about me? And why am I not winning? Because normally I'm winning, right?
right,
And I really realized that maybe my hunger, maybe my desire to win was going away, but
right.
now that hunger is back, and I want to keep that hunger for as long as I can. And let's see, man. Like I said, if I can get the championship belt for lightweight, and if I
Yeah,
can get the championship belt for welterweight, I'll happily retire. Like
right.
like Cahuto, what's that guy? 3C. He's got the gold
Henry Cejudo.
medal.
Yeah,
Henry Cejudo, right? He
right.
retired, right? Didn't he retire? And he retired after he won the belt again, right? So I would like to win the belt in the lightweight category and the welterweight category. I'd like to defend it a few times, and I'd like to retire as one of the best Indian MMA fighters of all time. And in that 4 or 5 years, if I can make it to ONE FC or to UFC, that'd be amazing.
Great. I mean, let's hope everything goes according to the plan and you win belts. After you retiring from MMA, are you going to do any grappling tournaments? Are you going to stay active in the sport by some or the
Oh
other?
yeah. One of my dreams is to become a black belt jiu-jitsu practitioner. So I want to get my black belt in jiu-jitsu. So
Great.
I just recently started training in the gi. I never really trained in the gi. It's only when I went to America, I started training in the gi, and I really found the love for jiu-jitsu as just raw jiu-jitsu with the gi.
Yeah.
And I think that I'll continue doing my jiu-jitsu training, and I'll definitely get my black belt.
Let's hope so, man. I mean, I wish all the luck for you. I mean, you definitely will get your black belt. There's no doubt.
Thank you,
So,
brother.
so if MFN resumes, say next year, and you have your dates, you're like looking to get right back in it in the first event itself,
As soon as they call me, as soon as they
right?
say, "Hey, Jason, do you want to fight?" I'm gonna tell them I'm ready.
Right.
I'm gonna be ready to fight.
Right.
So I'm gonna be training nonstop. I'm gonna be training every day. Even if I don't have a fight, I'm gonna be training.
Right.
Like I said, I got that hunger. My hunger is back. My desire to win is back, and
Right.
I want to prove. I need to prove to all the haters. I need
Right.
to prove to all the fucking chutias out there that say that I'm just a buckcho, that I'm just a joker. The Delhi Dawn is back, baby, and I'm coming for you.
Yeah, man. I believe you. The Delhi Dawn is back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to ask you that if MFN in future calls you to call the fights, I mean, do the commentary taking part, I mean, I noticed this part very significantly, wherein where you and Daniel Isaac, right, Mr. Daniel Isaac, were not commentating in MFN 3 and 4, and I guess we had a color commentator, and like there was one the guy who was speaking English, and the other guy was speaking Hindi. I mean,
Right.
they're obviously doing a good job. Not to criticize them as such, but I felt that the fights, in a way, you and Daniel Isaac were calling, that was completely on a different level, and the understanding of things that were going on, and you able
Right.
to interpret what the fighter is going to do or could possibly do rather. Like if someone was in someone's guard, you calling that it right away. I mean, giving the technical
Mhm.
aspects of it as well as calling the fight the way it is. I think that's a big part. You would definitely like to analyze fights after this, right?
Oh man, I love mixed martial arts. I'm a student of martial arts. Like, every day I watch videos, every day I train. So I'm always trying to improve myself as a martial artist. And I also like to analyze, and I can kind of look at a position and I can see what the guy is going to do or trying to do. And I mean, if Matrix Fight Nights call me to do commentary or to fight, any way I can help them, with the sport grow, I'll be happy to help. So whenever they call me, I'll be ready.
Fantastic. We'll just wrap this up. I mean, before we wrap this up, do you have anything to add? Do you have anything to say about your rap? I mean, a rap, one or two here and there, anything?
What I can say is this, man. You can find me on YouTube. You can just type in Jason,
Right.
Ramesh Solomon. Go watch my fights. A lot of my fights are there. And if you want to listen to my music, you can find my music on Spotify, on Apple Music, on Savan. I'm on all the distribution channels there.
Right.
I can give you my latest track that's come out is called Bakchod.
Okay.
I wrote a track called Bakchod. So just go to Spotify, type in Bakchod by Jason,
Yeah.
and that's my newest track. You can go check that out. It's basically like a funny track. It's basically for all the people talking shit about me. They think I'm a Bakchod, so I made a track called Bakchod. So why not go enjoy it?
Well, I mean, I'm definitely going to listen to it. That's for sure.
Perfect.
Well, so thank you so much, Jason, for joining us, and for all the viewers, those who have joined. Stay safe, stay healthy, and always keep up the good fight. Thank you so much, man.